I've been invited to Washington, D.C., and I'm going there to discuss some new legislation for our children. There is a Yahoo out there that is complaining, saying that they're a social worker. They're a social worker, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. None whatsoever. And first of all, if you're a social worker and haven't been to one of your meetings, haven't done anything to get off your butt to make changes in the child welfare system, I really don't give a damn what you have to say.
Let me tell y'all something a little bit here, okay? For those that don't know, I've worked in government, okay, for city and county 10 years. Did 5 years of that was overseeing and supervising other people's work. I built a program from the ground up around that time. In addition to that, I also know what treatment contracts look like, okay? I know what an ICPC is. I know what it's like to fly from state to state to review and work with the feds to determine if states are doing their job, if these child welfare agencies are doing their jobs in terms of reunifying families and keeping kids safe in the system. I have an undergraduate in criminology. That's my undergraduate. A minor in social science. My master's is in social work. I have some legal studies under my belt.
I have never seen you advocate for a child or changes in the child welfare system. So again, little girl, sit down. And one thing you really don't want to do is start poo-pooing on my side of the street. You can stay on your side of the street, don't know who you are, but when you come after me, you better pack a lunch, little girl.
Have you ever fostered a child? Have you ever provided respite to a child? Because if you want to ask an agency what they need to do better, you probably want to, see if you can become a foster parent. See if you can help, maybe become a respite provider. That's how you help. But this is content. This right here, this flyer right here is content.
At what point I went through your entire channel, at what point I have never seen you advocate for a child or changes in the child welfare system. So
oh, the ones in the media, like the ones like the Quentin Simons and the Summer Wells, those kids, that's what makes you a child advocate? Those kids. What about the black and brown kids? Yeah, I'm brown. What about those kids that don't make it to the media, that aren't on News Nation or haven't had a situation in which the parents have made it to the news? What about those kids? Why not advocate for those ones?
Anybody that goes over to her channel can ask her, how many times has she went to her legislatures? How many times has she spoken in front of her state delegation? How many times has she done anything to get off her butt to advocate for children? I would like to know. But I can tell you I do a lot. I can tell you she's probably keeps her butt at home, planted in her seat inside of her comfort of her home while I'm traveling the entire United States trying to find the root cause of these issues.
But I promise you, there's so many out there need attention that will never make it to CBS News, but that need attention. Shout out to those casas that don't need YouTube for validation. Shout out to those that are child advocates and don't need to make content off of the fact that they're a child advocate. I'm talking about a true child advocate, whether court appointed or not, even a guardian ad litem, a GAL, those court appointed attorneys that are appointed to children during a dependency and neglect case would know. A child advocate would know that you don't make content off of stuff like this.
I'm advocating for true changes in the system that has not been updated since 1965. So little girl, sit down. Sit down, little girl, okay? I can probably tell you that you're probably part of the problem.
She puts this on this flyer. ICPC hasn't been updated since 1965. Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Taking this flyer to Washington? Constant updates to it. There would need to be. on the number of foster kids that they have, home placement, and all this stuff, right? And so these cases also get reviewed by the feds. They determine and they figure out, well, what changes need to happen in this.
I am proposing that the government build a computer system, a database that can house these reports in them from all over the country. Forced state cooperation. All systems shall be incorporated together across this country. When you type in a social security number for a mom, a dad, or a child, you should be able to get the entire file, no matter what state they lived in, no matter what condition their property was in.
You can't share information. A lot of that is private medical, mental health information. Don, if you ever have, and not to say that this is you, but let's just say that if you or your child ever make it to a system, right, your name gets entered, would you want the state of Arizona having that information about you? It's very simple. An ICPC is completely different than what she's asking for. Those are two different things. ICPC is the actual agreement between two states, maybe more, to work together to reunite a child with a potential home. A centralized system is not going to help. If you want to know that I abuse my kids, if you truly want to know, go check the criminal system. That's what you need to do. Go check your local courts or judicial system to figure out if I've been convicted of child abuse. That is the plainest way I can give.
If they try to state hop, community hops to avoid being held accountable for their trespasses upon their own children, then it needs to be incorporated into our driver's license system as well.
If I'm Johnny's mom and I physically abuse and hit my little Johnny, God forbid, but if I did that, okay, and I get charged criminally for child abuse, for example, the only thing that the state of Pennsylvania needs to know is that I've been charged criminally. They don't need to know about my drug addiction. They don't need to know about anything else. It is set up in a way in which privacy and information is protected. This right here, you're not like inventing a new thing. An ICPC is not meant to share pertinent information. Like, it goes from one state to one situation to another. It is not meant to be like, oh, I'm able to get into this system, and that way we're going to make sure that parents are held responsible and they don't flee the state when they fuck up their kids.
Sit down. Sit down. I wonder how many years it took you to get slightly under me in a year. I am eating breakfast.